Welcome back into the Enrichment Sports Source. This segment brought to you by a company I tell you about each and every week, Stern Agee. They are a rare breed indeed, founded a century ago, back in 1901. They are one of the few privately owned brokerage firms that is still left here in the United States. They have survived incredible waves of consolidation, and they've done so by faithfully serving their clients in ways that other firms won't do it, or ways that other firms can't do it. Call Stern Agee this week to discuss your own financial future. Stern Agee. All right, I forgot a couple of things in the last block. I want to run through some scores here. We have the Mr. SEC scoreboard from around the SEC there. You see Florida was a winner. Texas A&M was a winner. Arkansas, bigger win over Louisiana Lafayette than I think a lot of people expected. Louisiana Lafayette wasn't bad last year. Oklahoma State puts it to Mississippi State. Alabama didn't have a great offensive night, but they've got three non-offensive scores up there over Virginia Tech. Auburn had struggled a bit with Washington State, got the win. Other scores, Missouri pulled away from Murray State. Kentucky falls to Western Kentucky for the second straight year. LSU outlasts TCU. Clemson inches by Georgia in a shootout, and then the games from Thursday night. And then also I wanted to show you some key stats we're going to keep track of. These are if you show me the winner in these three stats each week, I'm going to show you a team that 99.9% won the game. Yesterday on first downs, how many times did you get 4 or more yards? Tennessee ran 37 first down plays. They got 4 or more on 27 of them. That's fantastic. They were 19 of 23 in the first half. Third down conversions, you see they're 7 of 11. They won the turnover battle. No reason to be surprised that they won the game 45-0 if you own those stats the way they did. All right. This segment of our show is the lightning round. So we're going to have 4 quick questions for each of you. All right. You each get about a minute to answer. So I will start with Brittany. Johnny Manziel was back on the field yesterday, threw 3 touchdowns and a half of action, but he was also flagged for taunting. He taunted several times, but he was flagged finally for one last taunt. Kevin Sumlin took him out of the game. As he was trying to talk to him on the sideline, Manziel walked right beside him, didn't look at him, bumped into him, kept walking. Sumlin, in his interview after the game, said, "Well, you saw I addressed that on the sideline." Yeah, oh, you sure did, as he blew by you. The question, Brittany, what will be the bigger storyline in 2013? Manziel on the field, or the stuff Manziel does away from the game, off the field?
I think once Manziel got onto the field yesterday, he reminded everyone why it is that he's a Heisman Trophy winner, no doubt. But the bigger story of the weekend is Manziel's behavior. I mean, we're talking about a guy who on Friday evening apologized to his teammates for the NCAA investigation and then turned around on Saturday and he was taunting players by the autograph signs, the money gestures, pointing to the scoreboard, and then whatever it is he said to those Rice defensive players made both of those referees turn around and almost jump at him, and then walked off the sidelines and ignored Kevin Sumlin. I mean, in this guy's mind, he is larger than life. He has no respect for his teammates. He has no respect for his coaches, and he doesn't know what it means to face the consequences. So I think keep this pattern up, and the story of Manziel in 2013 is his behavior.
Okay, very good. David Ligon, you have just been hired as Tennessee's offensive line coach. You're not getting the salary, though.
I quit.
Your guys are getting all kinds of love and hype this week. Ex-offensive lineman, you're the coach now. What do you work on them with? What do you work on with them this week?
Well, I think it's got to start in that film room, and you're going to have to pick it apart. I know they looked great on paper, but you're going to find mistakes. You're going to see things on film technique-wise that need to be corrected. So you just got to keep them down to earth. They're going to hear it on Twitter. They're going to hear it on Facebook. They're going to hear it on this show and other media sources how great they are. You've got to keep them level-headed and know that they have to continue to work on the practice field. You've got to make it physical early in the week and then taper it back as you go through and let them know that, look, even though we won, the road's going to get tougher, and you've got to maintain. If you go soft on them, the play's going to go downhill.
Okay. Anything specifically stand out to you?
The run blocking looked good. There's zone principles in there. They moved the line of scrimmage. The guys looked athletic. We hear about them losing some weight. I could see it. They moved well. Not a lot of perimeter game out there, but I'd be surprised if we don't see that going out screens, getting those guys in space. They're big bodies. They're strong guys. You get them running around, it's going to hurt some of those DBs.
All right, very good. Jimmy Hines, go to you next. Mississippi State lost to Oklahoma State 21-3 yesterday. They really controlled the game for large parts, couldn't get in the end zone, eventually got blown out. The Bulldogs have now lost 6 of their last 7 games, going back to last year. Dan Mullen just 2-17 versus ranked opponents in Starkville. Has he peaked at Mississippi State?
It's clear that they've not been able to recover from that emotional win over Tennessee last year.
Yeah,
they have gone downhill since. I think they have peaked. And I think Ole Miss is going to have to say so about that, because Ole Miss is just racking up in recruiting. They've got another highly rated class. They're going to dominate the state of Mississippi, and I think that it's going to be difficult for Mississippi State to maintain what it has done, and I think they have peaked under Dan Mullen.
Okay. Bob Hodge, I'll finish with you about a minute here. Which was the more damaging loss last night? Number 5 Georgia losing at number 8 Clemson, or Kentucky losing to Western Kentucky for the second straight year?
Well, I think right off the bat you want to say that it was Georgia losing to Clemson because you're going to lose your national ranking. I mean, that was a big game, a lot of national exposure. And I already, coming into the show this morning on the radio, I already heard people, ESPN radio, saying, well, Mark Richt can't win big games, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to go the other way and say Kentucky to Western Kentucky because you're already struggling with Louisville to maintain your status as the football team in Kentucky. You can't beat Louisville, and now you can't beat Western Kentucky. So do they start chipping away at some of the recruits that you're after? And also almost as bad as it leaves a bad taste in your mouth to start to Stoops era. Now, Western Kentucky's a pretty good football team, but I don't think people look at it that way. It should have been Kentucky rolling over an inferior opponent.
There were a lot of Kentucky fans that would have liked to have seen Bobby Petrino hired. So
Correct.
that couldn't have helped Mark Stoops last night. It's unfair because we don't know what he's going to do, but I agree with it. That's a big loss. That's a 2-team state. Now it's suddenly a 3-team state, and there aren't enough recruits in that state for one team. So that's not good news for Kentucky, I don't think. Folks, thank you very much. We'll see you next week when we come back. Again, play to people's strength. We got the Cavaliers line, we got picks for next week, and we got a segment called Pearl's Pulpit. Come on back on the Enrichment Sports Source.